All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Webinar Wednesday. Today, we are talking with environmental health, and we are looking at those temporary food events as well as sorry, I'm just trying to move my webcam because I just see a giant me on the screen. There we go. So today we are going to be talking about temporary food events and temporary food establishment permits with environmental health. So I'm just going to do a quick technical orientation to get us started, and then I'm going to pass it over to environmental health, and they're going to continue the presentation today. So the technical orientation, just to make sure everyone can participate fully. Hopefully everyone can hear me right now. And if you don't mind, maybe putting in the chat just to verify that. We've had some technical issues with previous sessions. But everyone has been automatically muted for this session. You should be able to hear me throughout the session though. If you're having any issues with your audio, please check your internet connection. And if that's not working, you can always sign out and sign in again. We are recording today's session, so you will be able to view the full session a little bit later on. All participants have been muted today. That's because we often have over 100 people attend these sessions. So the best way for us to communicate with each other is actually through the questions and comments. So let me show you where you can find that. If you are joining from a computer, you have a long what they call a control panel for GoToWebinar. And near the bottom of that control panel is where you'll actually see where you can type in your questions and comments. So you can type anything there. I will be able to see it, and Allison, our presenter today, will also be able to see it, and we can respond to you either verbally or through the chat. If you are joining through a mobile device, you're using the GoToWebinar app, and there is an icon that looks like a question mark. If you tap that, you'll be able to open up a question box and send us questions and comments that way. There is a handout for today's session that is summarizing everything that we're looking at today. So you don't have to try to take notes or memorize everything. It's all right here for you. You can access this through your GoToWebinar software today. So that is right here at your control panel. The handout is right above where you'll find the questions. And with the app, it's actually a icon that looks like a little document. So you'll be able to click that and access the handout. If you're having any issues with that, not to worry. At the end of the session, we actually will send an email with the attachment and any links or other information we discussed in the session today. So that is the whole technical orientation, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Allison so that she can begin the session. One thing I did want to mention is that you can send us questions and comments, but you're actually not going to be able to see the questions and comments. Those are private, only the presenters can see those. So we do get a lot of questions about that, but we can still see them and respond to them. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera, and I will give the slides over to Allison.
Good morning. Thank you, Rachel. Thanks to everybody for joining us today. Please let me know if you can't see my screen, Rachel. My name is Allison Olguin, and I am an environmental health specialist, more commonly known as a health inspector for Fairfax County Health Department. And I'm also the temporary food event coordinator, which means that I work with event coordinators to ensure that food vendors at events have the proper permits. And I also kind of organize our inspectors that go out to events to do inspections at these temporary events. Today's session is focused on how to use PLUS to submit electronic applications, what used to be paper applications, but are now done in the county's new planning and land use system. The acronym is PLUS. So I'm going to really focus on the two different types of applications you'll see associated with temporary food events in the system, how to find the application, submit it, and then when the permit is issued, how to find the permit and print it to take with you to the event. So if you have program-specific questions like, do I need a permit, or how do I operate, what are the requirements for operating at an event, etc., you're welcome to send those to me at that email address you see at the bottom of my screen. allison.olguin@fairfaxcounty.gov. Okay, so as mentioned, there are two types of applications you're going to see regarding temporary food events in PLUS. The first one is for the event itself. So what is a temporary food event? It is an event that serves food to the public. It's considered a coordinated activity or gathering, typically seasonal in nature, and it lasts for less than 14 consecutive days. So that is the event application that the event coordinator or the person overseeing the whole event is going to fill out. Festivals, fairs, carnivals, farmers markets, these are all different types of temporary events. And a temporary food event, again, is one where food is served to the public. So that's the temporary food event versus the temporary food establishment permit. And what that is, the temporary food establishment is the individual food booth or stand operating at a temporary event. So the temporary food establishment permit application is the one that the individual food vendor who plans to go sell food at an event wants to submit to get their permit. Just a quick overview of the application process for these two different types of applications before I jump into the system to show you how to do it. So we ask a minimum of 2 weeks prior to an event. An event coordinator would go into PLUS and submit the temporary food event application. It's just kind of a notification to us that there is an event coming up. There are a couple of document types that will be required. You'd be asked to submit a list of your food vendors participating in the event and their contact info, as well as an event map layout, so like where all the different food vendors are going to be at the event. And then that creates the event in the system for the individual food vendors to go in at a later date to submit their permit applications. The event coordinator is supposed to inform the food vendors that they're responsible for going into PLUS and submitting their own applications. So you're going to be creating a record in PLUS when you submit this application, and that record is going to close the day after the event end date that you are giving us in the application. So the second type of application you'll see when you're in the system and looking at these event applications is going to be the temporary food establishment permit that the individual vendor needs to submit a minimum of 10 days before the event itself. And the submission of that application creates a record you'll be getting numerous emails from the system as the application goes through the review process. So you're going to get an email when you submit your application, and then if the fee is due, that $40 permit fee is going to be invoiced by a reviewer. At that time, you'll get another email saying that you have a fee due, and you click on the link to go back in and submit your fee. The final email will tell you that your permit has been issued, and it has a link to the permit. So at the end, we're going to look at how to find that permit, so print it and bring it with you to the event. So with that, I'm going to jump into PLUS. So this is the county's new electronic system. You can find it by typing PLUS Fairfax County into your search engine, or you can find it at multiple different places, the link multiple different places on the county website, but it's plus.fairfaxcounty.gov. You do have to register and log in to be able to access these applications. So if you have not already been in this site and created an account, you're going to do that by clicking on New Users, Register for an Account. You'll enter your basic contact info. And then at that point, you can log in to access applications. All right, so this is my dashboard as a customer. This is where I'm taken to when I log in, and I can see up at the top here all of the different agencies involved in PLUS that use PLUS in Fairfax County. And I can find this application under Environmental Health. All health department applications are found under the Environmental Health tab here. So I would click on that to access the applications. Create an application. I have to read and accept these terms here. And now I can see all of the application types available in this system for the health department. So right now it's a shorter list. This list is going to be growing, but right now I find the ones, the temporary events, obviously under this temporary event heading. I click on it to expand it, and I see those two types I've mentioned multiple times. So the event coordinator would choose the temporary food event. I'm going to demonstrate the temporary food permit today because that one's used more frequently. So an individual food vendor would want to select the temporary food establishment permit and then continue application. And then step one is to fill out the event information. So if the event coordinator has gone in and submitted their application for the event and notified us of an upcoming event, it's going to be listed here. When I click on the drop down to expand the list, I see different events, and this is a training environment. This is not our real environment, so these are not real events, obviously. But I would select the existing event from this drop down list if it exists. If it does not, I have to choose other. And then I have to input the event details. So if I had chosen an existing event here, you'll see that it automatically fills in all of the event-specific info that the coordinator provided in their application. So it's helpful when that event already exists. But I'm going to show you if it doesn't exist, I choose other. And these fields are dynamic. As you can see, they change based on my answer here. So other, it's stalling. It should be, oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Okay, so at this point, I would enter the event details. Is it a multi-day event? If I say yes, it's going to have me enter the dates later in the application. If I say no, it's a one-day event, then I enter the date here. And then this begin and end time of the event. Does it occur at this location on a repeat basis? That would be like a farmer's market. And if I say yes, then I'm going to be asked to specify the frequency, and I would put weekly for a once a week farmer's market, or monthly, annually, etc., as appropriate. And then continue application to move on to the next step. You will notice on the left here, save and resume later. This button gives me the option to save what I've entered so far and then come back to it at a later date to finish the application. But I'm going to continue with this for now. And then this event information, the address is for the event. I'm being asked, what is the event address? Had I chosen an existing event from the drop-down menu, I would have had this already filled in for me. But I'm going to enter it here. I have found in helping people use this application system that the less information you enter here in the address, the happier the system is. So what I like to do is enter just a street number and then click search. And I will find a list of every single address in Fairfax County, a valid address with that street number, those 3 numbers in it. So if I have a little bit more information, you can see that was like 10 pages long. So let's say if I just enter a little bit more info here, I'll get a shorter list. You would find your address, click on the radio button there to select it, and then it gives me the parcel and owner, property owner, and I can't edit those. It's already in the system. It's auto-filled this parcel number. You'll see it that red circle there lets me know I cannot edit the parcel number. It's provided by the system when you have chosen a valid address. So if you start entering your address up here rather than doing the search that I just did, you might not have a valid address because the system's quite picky with the address. So if you don't see a parcel number autofill, then you know you don't have a valid address. Once you do, you click continue application to proceed. And then again, had I chosen an existing event from that dropdown, I would have this information already filled in for me based on the event coordinator's application. It pulls that info over. But I have to add this info now because I chose other from that drop-down list. So if I'm adding myself here, I can click select from account. This is going to be the fastest way because it's going to pull the information I gave, that contact info I gave when I registered for this account here in Plus. So it automatically fills all that in. I'm going to click continue to proceed. So the event coordinator is a required contact within this application, as well as the applicant and the establishment owner. Those three people contact types are required. So it could be the same person listed 3 times, but I do have to input somebody for each one of these types to be able to proceed. So again, I'm the person filling this out. So I'm the applicant. I'm just going to select myself. Quickly fill in all of my info. For the event coordinator, you're likely, if you're filling out this application to get your own permit, you're likely not the event coordinator. So you would have added new. So I'll show you how to do that here. You're adding somebody that's not associated with your account. You've not entered their contact info. You have to manually input it here. I'll choose individual as the type. And then I'm just going to input my first name and last name and phone number. It doesn't want that. It does not like the format there. That's what that little error message was about. So you can see anywhere that I have the little asterisk here, it's a required field. And I know it's tiny and hard to see it, but it's a little red asterisk next to the individual/organization, first, last name, primary phone number, email, and mailing address. So you'll see that it's got the asterisk next to the address, but I have to actually click on the blue add contact address to input my address. And it is required. You get an error message if you try to proceed without inputting the mailing address. I'm just putting fake information here, and I'm going to click save and close to keep this. I can save this and add another if I have another address I want to input, or I can clear by choosing clear. Save and close allows me to save this and continue with my application. And it wasn't happy because I did not have a state there. So save and close to keep this. I can see that I have successfully added my address. So now I'm able to continue to finish this contact. I already exist in the system, so it is giving me this question here. I'm going to click continue to save that, and now I want to choose continue application in the bottom right hand corner to proceed. So now I'm getting to the specific info for my booth. I'm sorry, additional contacts I'm going to skip. It's not required. You can input an additional contact. I'm skipping it by clicking continue application, and now I'm at step 2, which is the booth specific information. So the name, my establishment name I'm asked for, that's going to be the name of your business or booth, whatever you have on your banner at the event on your table or booth. And then these questions have to be answered. So you'll see some of them have some help text. If you hover over the little arrow, you can, question mark, then you can get some help text on how to answer the questions. So not all of them have it, but the harder questions do. So I can see here that I'm asked, are you currently permitted to operate in the county of Fairfax? So that's referring to, am I already an existing restaurant in Fairfax County? Do I have a valid current permit as a brick and mortar or a food truck? Yes or no, as appropriate. Am I owned and operated by the county of Fairfax? Am I fee exempt? So this is referring specifically to, you'll notice when you click on the help text here, a 501c3 or nonprofit organization. So if you are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, you choose yes, and then the system requires you to upload a proof, a letter from the IRS. If you're not, click no. On-site contact name will be the name of somebody that we can talk to at the event when we're doing an inspection. So who's going to be manning your booth? Their name and phone number are required here. And then are you operating as a food stand or booth or as a mobile food unit? Have you already paid a temporary permit fee in the state of Virginia in this calendar year? So if you have already operated as a temporary food establishment in another county in Virginia this year, You would indicate that by choosing yes, and then the system will require you to upload a receipt as proof. As you know, likely, you only are required to pay a $40 temporary permit fee one time per calendar year in the state of Virginia. So any county in Virginia counts for that. It does not have to be in Fairfax County. Approved food preparation site. Are you preparing your food on site or at a commissary? If it's a commissary, you would put the name of the commissary here versus just typing on site if you're making all of your food, including storage, at the event. This is the activity and equipment checklist. So you're going to read through and check off all appropriate recommendations or guidelines here. So the first one, if you notice the very tiny little asterisk next to the number 1 and number 24, those are both required of absolutely everybody, every operation. Therefore, they are required fields. You can't submit this until you selected them to indicate that you've read and agree to the regulation. So number 2 is important. If you are bringing food prepared, number 3, if you're bringing food prepared from a commissary or a commercial kitchen not regulated by Fairfax County, then you have to check this box, and checking that box will have the system require a document be uploaded showing proof of commissary, either an agreement letter or a most recent inspection. So as I said, number 1 and number 24 are required. I'm going to select those 2 for expediency, skip the rest, and click continue application. I am required to input menu details. So I have to put at least 1 row. So I would add a row for every single menu item. If I'm making a hamburger, that's 1 row. If I'm doing hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, I'm going to add 3 rows. And I can click the drop down to add multiple rows quickly rather than doing it one at a time. All of these fields with an asterisk, again, are required. So the menu item, do I prepare it on site or in a commissary? Again, let's see, we're asking you this 3 times because it's important. And then the main ingredients. So we're interested in what it's made out of, beef and buns, for example. I clicked add 2 rows, so I'm doing this now, 2 menu items here. On site, and chicken is made of chicken, and then submit to save. One moment, I have to move. There we go. Okay, so I can add another row if I remembered I'm actually serving more. I can delete by selecting the box next to the menu item I want to delete. Choose delete, and you're asked, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And then once you've input all of your menu items, you click continue application again in the bottom right-hand corner to proceed. And then I indicated that I had already paid a fee in the state of Virginia, so I have to add that document. So if I had said no, I would have had no documents to add here at this page. To add a document, you click add here on the right, and then you select it from your drive, click yes to upload, and I'm seeing here that it's not happy. It is saying 0, it should say 100. I'm going to click continue application, and it's stopping me because I have not actually uploaded successfully this document. So I'm not sure why it's not cooperating at the moment, but it's chosen to not cooperate. So I'm going to go back. And I'm going to select no to be able to bypass this, just so you can see me submit. And I can see I'm running out of time. So I'm going to try and do this quite quickly. Back to the application detail information. All right, so here, have I paid the fee in Virginia? I'm going to say no, and now I should not have to upload any documents because all of my answers were such that no documents are going to be required. All right, required documents, no required documents. I'll click continue application, and I'm going to get to the review page. I can review my answers. I can edit my answers from here. Over on the right next to each of the fields, you'll see edit. If I click on that to go back to that part of the application. All the way down at the bottom, I see continue application. And when I click this from the review page, I'm submitting my application. So you'll notice up here, number 4, pay fees. It's not part of the application, that comes later. That seems to confuse a lot of people. So there is nowhere at this time to pay a fee. If you do have a fee due, you will get an email notification from Plus letting you know that you have a fee that you need to go into your account to pay. So I should have gotten a confirmation with the record number here. The system's not happy today. This is the training environment and it's not cooperating, but that is the submission of that permit application. At this point, it's in our office. We will review it and you'll get those email notifications from Plus. So I just quickly want to show you how to find your permit once it's been issued. The system sends you that email saying your permit's been issued. Click here. It takes you back to the login page for Plus. You log in and then click on Home, My Records, and you will get a list of any records you have here in Plus. So you can see it's divided by the different agencies. If you have multiple different agencies, perhaps you've got your fire application in already. You'll see it separated out here. So we access Health Department records here at Environmental Health. And then these are all of your records. You might just have one. You click on the record. It's record number in blue to open the record up. All right, up here under record info, click the drop down and you'll find attachments, and that's where your permit's going to be. Any document you were required to upload by the system during your application based on your answers, you would be able to see and access here. Your permit is going to be found here in attachments, as well as any inspection reports. When your inspections are completed, you'll find them here as well. You can open up the permit card. You'll notice the type over here on the right lets me know what kind of document. So permit card is what I'm looking for. I'd open it up. And here is the temporary food establishment permit. So you would print this and bring it with you to the event to display on your booth or food stand. All right, thank you. Back to you, Rachel. I'm finished.
Okay, thank you, Allison. And this has been recorded for anyone who would like to go back and review it as you submit your own application. I do have one question, Allison. It says, do brick and mortar restaurants need to complete permits?
Yes, that is a new system requirement. There will be no fee associated for establishments that are already permitted in Fairfax County with that food establishment permit. You don't get invoiced the fee, but you do need to come into the system, submit the application so that we know that you are attending the event. We know what you plan to serve. We have your contact info, and then we are able to schedule and conduct an inspection on site.
Okay, perfect. Yep, I think that answered the question. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly show my screen. I know we're just about out of time, but I want to just review what the next steps are going to be after this webinar is over so everyone knows what to expect from us. So at the end of this session, probably by the close of business today, you will receive an email from us with links, anything that we mentioned today in the session, as well as that handout that we discussed earlier. And some of those links will include the link to the actual Plus system. So if you haven't accessed it yet or created your account, you can go ahead and do that. We'll also have a link to our Plus Support website where you can access lots of different resources available to you to help you through this new Plus system. And some of those resources include our YouTube channel, where we have lots of different how-to videos, very short, to the point, focused on specific topics. So we have one about creating an account, resetting your password, finding your attachments and your documents, what Allison went over. So definitely check that out and subscribe if you will. The more followers we get, the more this channel is promoted and makes it easier for people to find. And you also get updates when we add new videos, which is great. We also recorded this session and we recorded all of our previous Webinar Wednesday sessions. So you can access those through our support website and also directly through the website listed here. Again, all of these links will be in that email, so you don't have to try to memorize them. And in the email, we are also going to include our upcoming webinar session. So every single webinar Wednesday, we focus on a different topic related to Plus. So next week, the Office of the Fire Marshal will be presenting on fire prevention code permits. Environmental Health will be joining us again on June 29th to talk about H-Corps permits and health sanitation. And we also have all of our sessions through July up on our website available for you to register. So we'll share all of those direct links with you so you can register for anything that's relevant to you. So when this webinar closes, when you leave the session, you'll be able to complete a 3-question survey, and it also includes an open-ended question where you can give us any direct feedback on what you would like to see in future sessions, or if you have any additional questions for Allison or Environmental Health, we'll be sure to pass those along and they will follow up with you. So Allison, thank you so much for your time today and for giving everyone a look at the Plus site looking at environmental health. And thank you everyone for attending. We look forward to seeing you in a future session.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Allison. Have a great day, everyone.